See this guy? That's Messi. Many consider him to be the best footballer in the world. And inside this box, I have the boots that he wears that somehow nobody cares about. I don't even understand how that's possible. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Adidas Nemeziz 18.1 in the new Virtuso Pack colorway. White boots with neon pink accents scattered throughout. Since Adidas recently decided to kill off the Messi variation of the Nemeziz 18.1, this is now the only version that's currently available, and based on a couple different pros training in what looks to be a blacked out variation of the third generation Nemeziz, this is due to be replaced sooner rather than later. But what I want to focus on in today's video are all the details of the Nemeziz 18.1 and essentially come to the conclusion as to why this more or less has been a failure up until this point, even though these are actually very solid boots. So we're going to talk about all of that, including how they fit and feel on feet. So if you want to learn more, please stick around, watch the entire video. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below, and that'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $225 retail price. Speaking of new products at a discounted price, you guys may have noticed that I am wearing the new Copa America Argentina home shirt by Adidas. A lot of you guys always ask me what's a good place to get authentic shirts at a discounted price. Well, there's a link down below in the description along with an SR4U exclusive coupon code that will allow you to get this shirt and basically any shirt you can possibly imagine. They have an amazing selection at a discounted price. So if you're interested in a new shirt with name or number, blank, whatever you want, link down below, go ahead and check it out. Also, if you guys could like the video, that would be great. And if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on future content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So we're actually going to start with the colorway. This is of course part of the new Virtuso pack. All of the boots in the pack featuring a bright white base, which means yes, these will get dirty very easily. Thank you for asking. As far as the accent color is concerned, the accent for the Nemeziz line is basically a neon pink. And honestly, I'm not into pink boots, but these, for whatever reason, I really like the look of. I think the pack as a whole, while very simple, is also very good looking. I know I've seen a lot of comments of people saying that it's kind of unoriginal, which I do understand to a certain extent, but at the same time, it looks good and I really can't complain too much about it from that perspective. As far as the pink accents go, you can see that they are streaks on the upper with, of course, the solid Adidas stripes and the Nemeziz branding there at the back. You can also see that the insole is a solid pink as well. And then the sole plate, as you can see, it's not a wearable finish, by the way, is white with a paint splatter design on the underside, which does look cool. I think it's a little bit weird how it's paint splatter here and then kind of streaks on the upper. It doesn't necessarily match, but that's just kind of nitpicking the details. You can even see the laces do have a little bit of white and pink in them as well. Overall though, I have to say that I do think this is probably one of the better colorways for the Nemeziz 18 generation. As for the boots themselves, I really don't think that the Nemeziz 18 generation had much of a chance from the very beginning. Obviously, when Adidas launched the Nemeziz 17 Plus and 17.1, it was kind of the return of a Nitro Charge-esque boot. This to me is kind of the spiritual successor of the Nitro Charge, even though it's completely different, but it's the addition of that fourth line for the Adidas brand that they had not had up until that particular point since the Nitro Charge. Either way, the reception of that original Nemeziz boot was okay at the beginning, but realistically over the course of its 1 year long lifespan, it didn't sell that well and it wasn't particularly popular. So when they launched the Nemeziz 18 generation, and it was kind of just a slight modification of what they had originally done, obviously people were not going to be super excited. However, I do think that the Nemeziz 18 generation, whether it's the 18.1 or the laceless 18 Plus, is an improvement over what they had initially done. However, the issue with this line, the downfall of the current Nemeziz, is that there really isn't much of a reason to pick this over other options from the Adidas brand or other brands in general. I guess the best way to explain what I mean is to put this in a what if type scenario. So what if this was your only option for a top end boot? Well, in that particular situation, you're gonna be left with a pretty solid product because there is nothing really wrong with the Nemeziz 18.1. There are a few things that I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like given the fact that this is more or less kind of a speed boot in terms of the vibe that it gives off. I know that they market it as an agility boot, but if you're agile, you're likely going to be fast as well. So I think that if you wanted a speed boot, you'd probably be more inclined to get the X line from Adidas rather than the Nemeziz. And I just think that the boot should be lighter. And part of that is down to the fact that this does utilize their torsion frame sole plate, which is perfectly fine. The stud pattern is very good as well, although being FGAG, I really don't think it feels that great on artificial grass. Stud pressure is a bit of an issue for whatever reason. I do think that the sprint frame, sole plate, and stud pattern featured on the Messi variant was a little bit better, but not by much. And then the upper, it fits good, the touch is okay, but that's just it. It's okay. I feel like it should be thinner overall, and that is the one area where I do think that the original variation of the Nemeziz was perhaps a little bit better, and that it was just a little bit thinner, especially through the forefoot area. And then the final thing that kind of bothers me about these is the extension here on the back of the heel. This little extra flap of material with the stitching, it does cause some chafing on the Achilles tendon, which can lead to blisters during that break-in process. It's something that I've struggled with and seems to be a pretty common issue. Aside from those little kind of nitpicky things, this is actually a very solid product, and in comparison to the original, it's a much tighter fit, it's a more responsive feel, it's a more solid feel overall. And from a performance standpoint, there's not much that you can really pick on with the Nemeziz 18.1. Which brings us to the second what if scenario, and that is, what if you had the option to buy the Nemeziz 18.1 or any other top-end model? Well, most people are in this particular situation, and most people opt to not buy the Nemeziz 18.1, which I really think goes to show that yes, the player endorsements that these brands pay tons and tons of money for definitely matter and do influence the general public, especially when you're talking about a guy like Leo Messi. But even somebody as good as Messi wearing the Nemeziz boot does not influence people to buy the Nemeziz. I should say that he doesn't influence enough people to buy the Nemeziz. So much so that they had to kill his version of the boot. I think the Nemeziz 18.1, and really the Nemeziz line in general right now, is a great example of a boot that's good, but not necessarily good enough. Which is why I'm really excited for this next generation of Nemeziz, because it does look like Adidas is taking the line in a very different direction. There are definitely some visual similarities in terms of the kind of agility bandage wrapping your foot concept that has existed with the first two generations of Nemeziz, but it does look a lot more streamlined. It looks to fit a lot tighter. It looks to have a lot more speed boot-esque type elements, which I think is going to benefit the line in the long run in terms of overall popularity. Because if they put out a Nemeziz 19 generation and it just looks like a slight tweak on what they've done in the past, it has absolutely no chance of selling. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the Nemeziz 18.1 is bad, because it absolutely isn't. At full retail, $225, it's not gonna be my first choice, and I think most people would agree with me. But if you are on a budget, given that this has not sold well from the very beginning, you can basically get all of the older colorways for 50% off or more, at which point, if you are on a budget and you're looking for the best value for money option, rather than buying a mid-level takedown model, go and buy a discounted Nemeziz 18.1, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So I've swapped out the white and pink laces, which actually look good, so well done Adidas, for some pink berry reflective SR4U replacement laces, because if you're gonna wear pink boots, you might as well go all out. So if you are interested in changing up the style of your boots in a fairly inexpensive way, the website to go to is sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, the Nemeziz 18.1 feels pretty good. Like I mentioned earlier, the back being a little bit higher than normal is something that you have to pay attention to for the first couple of wears, and it is pretty common to get blisters because of that little bit of chafing. But other than that, the boots do feel pretty comfortable out of the box. The upper definitely has a good softness to it. That is definitely an improvement over the previous generation Nemeziz, but at the same time, there is a lot of stiffness to the upper, especially through the midfoot area, given the construction and change up in materials, which I would actually argue is a good thing, because it does make the boots very responsive feeling. These are probably the most responsive boots from the Adidas brand right now, which they do have that going for them. But at the same time, you get to the forefoot and toe box area and it's a lot wider, and it just almost feels like the material is a little bit too thick, even though the touch is perfectly fine. Overall though, they're solid boots. There's just something about them that doesn't feel up to the same standard as perhaps other speed boot options. And I really do consider this to be kind of a speed boot. As far as overall fit and width is concerned, width-wise, they're definitely tightest through the midfoot, but I still think they're going to be wide enough for most people, especially through the heel and forefoot area. So as long as you don't have excessively wide feet, I think you won't have any issues fitting into these. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is pretty much perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I'd recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $225 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, or any thoughts on the Nemeziz line of your own, leave it down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.